certainly depends on the nature of the agreement that the two parties strike. Now, you know, in a perfect world, when someone is selling a business, typically speaking, and they want a certain price for the business, and then they want to be done with it. And they don't want any exposure after it, and they don't want to have to do anything and deal with it. They've been dealing with it for however long, and one of the reasons why they want to sell it is that they just don't want to deal with it. That's not all the time, but most of the time that's the case. The fact of the matter is sometimes that can happen, depending on the economy, depending on how many purchasers, potential purchasers are out there that are looking to buy that kind of business and to purchase that kind of real estate, if there's real estate involved with it. And so they just want to be done with it. And if that happens, great. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. I've had deals where in the middle of it, I'm saying, look, this isn't going to go through unless we do something, and that is going to require you to actually keep your finger in the deal a little bit past when the agreement is executed and when documents are exchanged. So it's not an airtight, finalized closing. Just a really simple example, you know, the purchaser may see the value in the income stream or the revenue stream that's coming in versus the expenses, but for one reason or another, they can't afford to outright pay for the real estate. Let's say it's a sale of a hotel. So the real estate is a big part of it, and they can't kind of afford that. So they may make an offer and say, well, you have to, as the seller will agree to it, but you have to hold the mortgage on it and we'll make you payments towards that or towards the business itself. And a lot of sellers will go, no way, I'm not doing that, and that's fine. Then you look for another one, and if you can find it, great. If you can't, but sometimes the attorney's job is to kind of measure expectations of the client and try and help the client understand if the client has unreasonable expectations. And sometimes an unreasonable expectation may be that there's only one particular buyer out there for this business, and you have got to sell it for one reason or another, and you're going to have to take payments on something. You're going to have exposure to liability for a certain amount of years. Say we would be liable for X, Y, and Z for up to 2 years, or we warranty these office machines or these equipment that we're selling you for 1 or 2 years, especially if they're difficult to kind of to inspect prior to the business sale closing, which is rare but not unheard of. So sometimes difficult to inspect, and so there's some types of warranties that are involved. So a lot of times these are not cut and dry, and it makes the job of the attorney more difficult, but it's also, you know, it's challenging, and sometimes you get a deal done where if you just looked at it from the perspective that the seller is going to be out and done once all the documents are signed, you know, within a month or two after there's been an agreement on price or the due diligence period is up, then you're really kind of cheating your client because there may not be any that would pay that price. And then the clients have to weigh, if there's more than one client and one gives a really good price, but they have to kind of stay in the stress and the anxiety of having to be either personally liable or exposed for some type of warranty or legal position, or holding a mortgage, or having to take the business back if X, Y, and Z happens. Some clients may say, well, I'll take on all that if I get a higher price for it, especially if the deposit down is good enough. It may not be at the entire purchase price, but there's a good, nice size deposit. There are others that may say, no, I'll take a lower price just to get out of this. I want out for one reason or another. I have to be out for one reason or another. I want to sell it. I want to be done. And then you look for a purchaser that would agree to that. And that may cost money. You may have to take less for the business to do that. So it really kind of depends on the situation.